This video is for leaders, for CEOs, for anyone in a leadership position in a company, in a not for profit, in a think tank, in a university, in any position where you're influencing a lot of people and you have been taught or you have learned certain things, you have internalized certain ideas of leadership over the last 30, 40, 50 years, maybe even 20 years, which involve being authoritative. Authority has been a big part of what it means to be a leader for the longest time. Authenticity and being assertive have also been two concepts, two skills that have been crucial for being a leader. The ability to project, the ability to get people to listen to you and do what you say have been important parts of what it means to be a leader who's working with a lot of people. However, we can safely say, based on a ton of research that has come out in last 6 to 9 months, maybe even a year or so, that none of those ways have as much value as they did in the past. The one change that happened that shifted the way people saw leaders was Gen Z coming into the workplace. Gen Z has not appreciated authority. They've valued work life balance, mental health. They've valued different quality of leadership as compared to the classical style of leadership. Second thing that has happened is that the audiences, which is the customers, the public at large, has been exposed to a lot of creators online, on YouTube, on Instagram, on all kinds of social media who have become really popular, and they've started influencing the way people think, not by being impressive or by being smart, but by being very relatable, by being very understanding, by speaking the language of the people that makes it easier to trust them, makes it easier to listen to them. And this is what we have called the growth of attention economy. So billionaires have come off of it, like Mr. Beast and several others. So any one person's ability to capture the attention of millions is becoming the norm because they're able to engage the audience and speak in the language that they are speaking. They're neither verbose nor full of jargon. They're extremely relatable and they get where the audiences are coming from. The third thing that has happened is the rise of AI. So, intelligence as a form of authority is something that has lost significant value in last few months, but at least a year it's been happening. People don't value intelligence and experience as much as they did in the past. So you might be the smartest person in the room, you might be the person who has the most amount of experience, but you might be losing people because you're not able to build an emotional connection with the people that you're working with. Now, why is that? There are a couple of things. I'll give you some concepts. One is someone who believes in the power structure, like the oldest person, the person with most experience who has authority. By default, people would listen, is something that has broken down to a very, very, very large extent. Second thing is it's highly documented, and I'll just put some numbers on the screen for you. Trust deficit is extremely high from the public in institutions that have been around for a long time and that have leaders who've been leading these institutions for a while. The third thing is AI driven leadership crisis. So, Harvard Business Review and others, experts who've been studying leadership, are now saying that when intelligence is something and execution is something that can be done easily, the ability to cultivate a team that is inspired, that has cohesiveness, that can work together, that is aligned on certain values, that's emotionally connected, that's psychologically safe. All of these qualities are becoming increasingly important. In fact, anything that you thought was leadership in the past is not relevant now. Now, one of the key skills that you can learn in an environment like this is emotional storytelling. The ability to connect with your audiences, be it talent, your team, your colleague, be it the public at large. Third, be it your relationship with your investors or your partners or the companies or the anyone else that you're working with for whatever it is that you are doing. Also, for telling the story of your brand, you also need an emotional connection. So things that are valuable now are community, trust, and some sort of brand loyalty. So how can you cultivate that in the age of infinite content? By tapping into emotional depth. Now, this training is to really go deep into the the process of using emotions uh, with great intentions to really connect with people and to make them see the world from your perspective, to persuade them to be a part of the story, the world that you are building as a leader of any kind. So, the goals of this training are, if you want to capture attention of your audiences, if you want them to care about the brand that you're building, if you want them to trust the brand, the company that you're building, and if you want them to see value in it. Now, these are the two things that this training will not do for you. It will not help your audience understand your story. It will not help your audience remember your story. And it will not make them act on your story. Right now, I need you to forget about the action. If you're looking for a sales gimmick, a way to get people to buy something, or something that would make someone immediately invest in your startup idea, this training is not for that, or to hire someone immediately. Right now, I need you to, for a bit, put action on hold and forget the understanding and the remembering part. I cannot help you in this training, particularly on how to make something complex understandable by public, how to make something that's very vast and elaborate, how to make someone remember it. I can help you with attention, care, trust, and value. These are the things that build brand loyalty. These are the things that build an emotional connection with your audiences. Now, how are we going to do that? We're going to focus on this triangle in this training and every other training on storytelling that I will do. One part of the triangle is the audience. The second is the story or the message that you want to say. The third is the storyteller. For now, I will need you to forget about the story. Just forget what the message is. It's not relevant for right now. I need you to focus on the audience and I need you to focus on the storyteller. The person that you're talking to and the person you're talking as. Emotions is a human to human thing, it's a heart to heart thing. So, to understand our audience really deeply, to feel them and to feel into our own feelings and connect with them on an emotional level needs these two. So, these two are going to be the focus of this training. But I'll keep on coming back to this triangle. First of all, it's childish and not really a great storytelling tool, to be honest. But it's important to know, for the sake of information, for the sake of this training, what emotion means. So, sentimentality and feelings are not core to emotion the way we know it right now. It has Latin roots, and the word emotion actually means to move out, to remove, or to agitate. So there's a shift that's happening. Something is going away, something is being removed, something is being agitated. So if this stick figure is your regular way of communicating at the workplace, whatever kind of communication you're doing, you need to explore these. These are slightly moving ways that you could be a warrior pose, it could be a dancing pose, it can be a sportsy pose. But think about movement. Think about removing certain things and to agitate the way the communication is happening right now. So you're creating and tapping into an agitation in the mind and the heart of the audience. And even as a storyteller, you're going deep into it. Now, what does that mean? Literally, specifically, what does it mean in the case of a storytelling? What it means is that you're changing beliefs. Now, beliefs have two aspects. Beliefs have thoughts and beliefs have feelings. These are the two ways in which that beliefs are formed. Another, like the third angle here is experiences. So I have certain thoughts, I have certain feelings and experiences that I have are leading to a lot of thoughts that I have developed. So based on my experiences, I experienced certain feelings and they led to several thoughts. Now, in total, what happened was a belief system was formed. Like for the longest time, I believed that YouTube was not for me, that I was not a video journalist, I was not someone who would be comfortable with camera. Because of certain experiences in my life, there was a feeling that I could not capture attention on camera. I was a writer. That made me a storyteller. I was someone who loved to read, who loved to think, who's an introvert. And I did not believe that I could be a YouTuber. But because of certain experiences, my beliefs shifted. Storytelling essentially shifts beliefs, and an emotional storytelling, you're changing these by using emotions. So remember this: experiences, feelings, and thoughts. You're trying to agitate this belief system. You're trying to get one belief system in your audience to move out, to remove, and install another belief system. That's what storytelling does. Not propaganda. It's not forced. It's not something you are like, it's not like you're asking someone to believe in something that is wrong for them, that is bad for them. You'll be able to do this well if your beliefs are coming from a good place. If your intentions are sorted, you've done the research. I will go more into the storyteller part. But the first thing to acknowledge is that your audience has certain belief system. They have certain thoughts and they have certain feelings and they have certain experiences. Unless you acknowledge that this is already happening, you will not be able to ask someone to do something that you want them to do. This is the acknowledgement is the first bit. Everyone has a belief system. Everyone has had certain experiences in their life that have led to certain feelings, some dominant feelings, and some dominant thought patterns. So, this already exists. It will always exist in the hearts and minds of your audiences. Now, the first thing to do is to acknowledge what they are. How can you acknowledge what someone is feeling? How can you know what someone is feeling? How can you know what someone's thought patterns are? How can you know what someone's experience is? You could be creating a brand story. You could be trying to convince users for your startup idea to join you. You could be trying to convince people to be a part of your vision, your mission, your product, your service, whatever it is that you're doing in the world. But if you don't acknowledge that audiences already have their belief system, you can't really make a lot of headway. Now, the first thing that you can start doing is make certain assumptions. These are very thoughtful, very clearly researched in a way, but something that that you can say 70 to 80% be sure that these are the belief patterns, belief systems that your audiences have based on your assumptions. So there are certain things that could be done to make these assumptions. First could be some amount of secondary research. Like if the audience that you want to convince belong to a certain generation, just going to Claude or any AI and asking what are the dominant belief patterns of a certain gender, of a certain class, of a certain region, of a certain race, of a certain income group, of a certain experience of historically. What are the assumptions that you can make? So once you do that kind of research for gender, class, region, uh, you'll be able to make slightly educated guesses that get you a sense of what the belief system is. After that, what you could do is you could make a basic chart of feelings. So, say you're a salesperson, you're a sales head, and you're trying to expand your sales from the West to Eastern countries. Now, what you could do is you could create an ideal profile of your audiences, and you could see at a given point of time what are their feelings about your product, life in general, about what you're offering, and just kind of make some educated guesses. Are they happy about it? Are they sad about it? Are they disgusted with it? Are they angry? Are they fearful? Do they feel bad about something? Are they surprised by something? So, where are they at in their feeling space? Your ideal customer, your ideal audience. Like this demographic has a certain, like it can be said that, say, if your ideal audience is in a war zone, they're definitely sad and probably disgusted, angry, fearful, and bad, feeling bad and surprised. They're definitely not in the happy zone. The deeper you go at a particular point of time in a particular place, a certain demographic and your ideal audience in that, like the one person that you're focusing your story towards, has a very specific feeling. Now, this is just the basic sort of stage one assessment of the feelings of your audience. On your screen now, what I've put is something called a feeling circle. Now, these are the kind of things that AI could never do for you. So, if you're using AI for writing and if you're not doing this kind of deep work, there's a very high probability everyone else who's your competitor is doing the exact same thing and you'll be losing market to them. So, what you could do is use the feeling circle to go beyond this basic feelings. So, in happy, it could be glad, deeply glad, and ecstatic, for instance. You could go through the concentric circles and go beyond the basic circle to the slightly bigger circle, to the slightly bigger circle, and start writing down what someone is feeling, what your ideal audience is feeling at a particular point of time. It could be grief along with remorse. It could be startled and aggravated. It could be vengeful and grateful, maybe. So, creating a strong feeling map of your audience, like something where you can go deep into it, and you're as specific and precise. This is where you could bring in your team. You could actually have a deep conversation and brainstorm about what your ideal audience is feeling right now before you talk to them. So, say once you figure out some kind of feeling map of your audience, you're actually including that in your message. So, I showed you this triangle. Now you're trying to understand the audience really deeply. You're trying to feel them really deeply. So you're not focusing on the message or how it sounds or how clearly written it is, how well it's articulated. You're not using AI for this part. You're actually doing the work that humans can do. This is the part that AI will never do for you. This is the part only a human being can make these assumptions and do this research. You can use AI, but you have to know the feeling. That has to come from your, as a human being, you can feel another person. AI cannot feel another person. So this is the first part where going, you're doing a thorough feeling analysis based on certain assumptions and educated guesses of your audience. Now, the second part, like I said, in the in belief is thoughts. How does someone think? What is the ways, what are the ways in which they approach the world? What is their thinking pattern? Now, the simplest way to get a sense of how someone thinks is ask yourself, what do they think about acquiring power or dispersing power, or how do they engage with power? What are their thoughts about power and justice? These are the two things that will give you a deep sense of where your audience is really coming from. What are their thought patterns? So, the simplest way to figure this out is make some educated guesses based on newspapers, based on research, based on whatever resources that you can find. It could be primary questionnaires, it could be data available online, it could be social media references, for instance. Essentially, you're culling a sense of where someone is on the political spectrum. You're making a guess about, is this person moderate or centrist? The way they imagine their world, do they believe that I need certain amount of power and liberty to do certain things, but I also feel strongly about some sense of justice for the rest of the world, for everyone who is not me. So essentially, it's a combination of self and other. Maybe this person is conservative, my ideal customer. This person is okay with the way the world has been, the way power structures have been created. This person's okay with a certain demographic not having enough power, and they want to retain power, and justice is not that important to them. Then you go right and far right. On the left side is liberal, someone who believes in more equality. They believe in a sense of fairness, and they think every single person has the right to exist with freedom. Then you can go more left, where it's a lot about the quality of justice that the world could provide to someone. So this will give you a sense of thought pattern of your demographic, your ideal customer. What are they really thinking? What is their worldview? So with feelings, you're going more into how are they feeling about themselves and their surroundings, immediate surroundings. Thought patterns have something to do with deeply entrenched experiences that have taken like generations or years or decades, where someone has formed an opinion, a thoughtful opinion about how they want the world to look, how they want their world to look. So at this point, all you're doing is you're going deeper into understanding the beliefs. You're doing the job that the AI won't do for you. You're doing the job as a leader of understanding different generations, genders. Now, if you're a leader at one point of time, you're trying to balance the belief systems of, I don't know, dozens of stakeholders who have different belief systems. Once you create a graph and you acknowledge what these are, you'll be in a better position to change them, to shift them, to influence them, because you have figured out or you've made educated guesses of what these are. Now you're trying to relate to another human being as a human being. So step one is the audience. We studied the belief, thoughts, feelings, experiences of the audience. The second part is the storyteller. You, who you are. Now, this is the step two. It's a very hard one. You have to bring into awareness your own belief systems. So, nothing in this emotional storytelling, you want to build a connection with your audience, is out of awareness. You're bringing all of these things into awareness. You're not having any unconscious conversation. AI is not talking to, it's a real person talking to a real person. So, what are your own beliefs? What are your thoughts? Now you have to make a chart. For one side, right, your ideal audience with all your stakeholders, what their beliefs are, what their thoughts and feelings are. And on the other side, write your own beliefs, your own thoughts, your own feelings. And if you do this and practice this every single morning or every week, what will happen is slowly you'll start connecting with different people. Your ability to bring a lot of people together towards a common vision, towards a common mission will get a lot stronger. You'll be able to make everyone see something that they're not seeing right now. That's the power of emotional storytelling. That's what novelists do. That's what great filmmakers do. Now, write down your own thoughts, your own thought systems. What kind of political system do you believe in? How do you see the world? What justice means to you? What power means to you? What freedom means to you? How do you feel about the world right now? Write all of it really down in as much detail as possible. Write down your feeling state. The more aware you are of your own feeling state before going into any important conversation that involves you persuading another person, you need to know how you are feeling and have a sense of what the other person is feeling. It takes reactionary behavior completely out of any conversation. It actually means a genuine bridging the gap between two belief systems. So every conversation, every time you're telling a story to another person, you're actually making them see the world from your perspective more, and they're able to see the world from they're able to see the world from your perspective. You are able to see it from their perspective. Now we come to step three. You have two belief systems, you have two thoughts and feelings going on. You could have multiple actually for your audiences, but let's assume you have only one very specific audience in your mind, your ideal audience. It's like dedicating a book to someone. So in your brand, in your company, in your for your startup, it's I want this particular person to see it this way. And if you're able to actually emotionally connect with one imaginary person, even really deeply, you'll be able to bring hundreds and thousands into the fold because you did the work of connecting with one person. That's all what emotional storytelling is. You don't have to fake emotions. You don't have to be manipulative. Please don't ask AI to do emotional storytelling for you. This is actually a humane work, and by being more human and bringing your humanity into your communication, into your marketing, into your branding, into your email marketing, anything that they are doing, you're standing out by not being robotic or mechanical or unconscious about it. You're bringing the belief systems, the thoughts and the feelings into the conversation. Now we come to step three. We have 5 steps overall. Step three is writing the beginning of the story. Now, the beginning of the story, the act one, the setup, actually establishes the gap. This is my belief system. These are my experiences and thoughts and feelings. It's not unconscious. It's not something you're not assuming that the other person also feels the same way. You're acknowledging where you are at and you're acknowledging where your audience is at. So when you set up the story like that, what you've done is build empathy. One of the greatest skills that is needed in the age of AI, one person's ability to see the world from another person's perspective, to step into the shoes of the other. Once you clearly express that difference, it creates a quality that great stories use, which is an element of surprise. So the hook, the surprise creates a dopamine hit in the body, and that makes someone wants to listen to you. What's happening now, i- in the past, you might have focused on authority, you might have focused on projection, you might have been dramatic about something, you might have been very factual about something, you might have focused on the action, you might have focused on the details, you might have focused on the numbers. But what you're doing now is you're actually bridging the gap. You're seeing the world from your audience's perspective and you're putting it on the table. So, say you enter a room full of investors, and the first thing you do is you acknowledge their beliefs. So, you acknowledge, I understand that you are here, and the only thing you care about and that's relevant to you for your investment portfolio is a great ROI. It doesn't matter what I think and feel, but I get it. Having said that, the ROI is not great right now, but I have 20 learnings from last 2 quarters that are relevant to this meeting. Now, what you've done is you acknowledged what they were expecting, what they needed, what was important to them, and you have brought your own beliefs into the picture and you have identified the gap. This is the opening of the story. This is your act one. What it does is it lowers the guard of your audience. Now they're not they're not in a loop like of behavior that's already happening. They're very present, they're very mindful, they're suddenly like into the moment because you broke the pattern, because you were not talking at someone, because you did not say the most impressive thing, the thing that you wanted to say that was comfortable for you. What you did was you expressed in a way that built awareness. Everyone suddenly came onto the same page because the honesty of the difference was acknowledged. What you did was you brought clarity to the conversation, and you brought a sense of psychological safety. Now everyone feels safe because it's honest. That's the power of emotional storytelling. And the second thing it does is it transcends identity. So most people's belief systems have something to do with identity. Women might have certain belief systems, men might have certain belief systems. Every race, every caste, every class, every country, there are certain belief systems that are common, that are core to the identity. Say, as an Indian woman, I feel certain things living in a city. It's different for everyone. But what you're doing is you're transcending identity. What you're saying is that we might have different experiences, but we still have shared humanity. So, right in the very beginning, you've taken people from the differences, from the separation to a feeling of oneness, to a sense of, oh, we are in this together. It might appear like we are different, and we are acknowledging that, say, the experience of a person, say, who's been disabled and from a underdeveloped country and is aging and does not have insurance or the money to pay for the treatment that they need, and they face feeling a lot of grief because their friends are dying and this person does not have the care that they need, so this person's lonely, grieving, feeling a lot of lack. And if you have someone who's able bodied, young, in a developed country, who's stressed about their dating life. So these two people have different lives on the surface. But by acknowledging and by bringing these two into awareness, now there is an emotional safety that has come into the picture. This was step three. So you have created empathy, you've created clarity, you've created awareness, and by doing all of that, you've brought safety. Now, the second part is the story part, the middle of the story. Remember, we talked about the triangle. So now I'm talking about the story. Once we have acknowledged the belief systems of the audience, belief systems of the storyteller, the thoughts and feeling, we start crafting the message. And the way we start crafting that message, the beginning in the emotional story, is acknowledging the separation. And by acknowledging that separation, you bring awareness, you bring clarity, you bring safety, you bring empathy into the story, and you create some surprise. So it's not run of the mill conversation, it's a genuine emotional conversation. Step 4 is writing the middle of that story, the second act. Now, the second act usually begins with but or however. It's like woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep. So you've acknowledged where the audience is at, where you are at, and now you're like, but we can come together. But we can work together. But we can build together. But we can have a vision that is shared. We can have a community that's safe and where growth happens for both of us. Despite our identity related differences, we have something in common. Now, this is where I'll bring the golden circle that Simon Sinek famously talked about. You start with the why. What is the purpose of this conversation? Why are you in the same room? Why are you doing what you're doing? When you talk about why you're doing something that you're doing, you bring the intention into awareness. So, the clarity of your intention, the focus of your intention, the humanity of that intention, the goodness of that intention becomes something that makes people want to listen to you. The second part that builds trust is how are you going to achieve it? What is your process? Finally, what is it that you are building? What kind of brand, what kind of story, what kind of company, what kind of not for profit, what kind of social impact venture? So you're going from why to how to what. I'll link the golden circle, the why, how, what framework in the description. But this is what you're doing. You're going from, okay, we have differences, but here is my purpose, here is my process, here is my product. And what you can do in Act 2 is you can elevate the emotions from all the emotions that we spoke of. Like people would be somewhere in this zone. So you can build an emotional arc that takes them from where they are to ideally peace. So you might not be able to make people fall in love with each other, make your audience fall in love with you immediately. But by doing that, you build enough trust that they feel peaceful about working with you. So peace is where differences kind of dissolve, where some sense of oneness and commonality starts coming. So the word common is actually core to community and communication. And you start bringing that into your story by going through why to how to what, and by outlining the reasons why people should be together. You're creating a feeling of peace, the feeling that you want your story, the facts, the details, the events, the specificities are staying in the peace zone. Just ask yourself before writing anything, is it actually peaceful? Does it feel like it's bringing peace to my audience and to me? Are we in that zone? Are we getting there? The higher version, like a spectacular story that actually resonates with millions and billions, would go transcend even higher. This is something that you could work on over months, over weeks, over years, probably over decades, is a sense of joy. That if I buy this product, your ideal audience works with you, they feel a sense of joy. They're like, oh, this was a great experience for me. No matter where they were, they actually went to the joy space. Finally, it's unconditional love that now I have fallen in love with this brand, with this product, with this team, with this leader that I am in completely. That's your step 4. You have transformed all the lower emotions, all different kinds of emotion, by bridging the gap and getting from all of those emotions the belief systems, by acknowledging everything, by using the golden circle. You're like, okay, now we are in all in the peaceful state in a shared common space. Things that you could use here are vulnerability, the truth of your own experiences, authenticity, what something means, what your genuine purpose and your vision is, why it is what it is. You could bring a lot of clarity. You could work with the feeling of hope. Say the your audience or you like don't feel a lot of hope about something. By in the act two, you're building actually hope for something better. You could create some sort of a plan that brings a sense of safety. So the differences, like people can transcend the sense of identity related differences and say, oh, I actually feel safe. This person has a plan. This person has thought through. They're vulnerable. They're authentic. They have some hope of a better future. And they've done the story listening part. They know where I am at. This act two is bridging the belief system of the audience to the belief system that you have. So you brought them from here to here with your act two. You're bridging the identity gap. Okay. Finally, the step five is action part. So remember, I told you that you need to forget about action in the beginning. I said focus on attention. You captured everyone's attention by talking about the differences, by creating that surprise. You did not hide anything. You did not lie. You did not use AI. You built certain amount of caring feeling by talking about your purpose, by vulnerability, by authenticity, by acknowledging where they are at, by bringing empathy. You build trust with your clarity and your awareness and your safety, and by bringing hope into it by using the golden circle. You let people see the value in what you're building with all of this. The facts and the figures in your act two are showcasing the value that the audience gets by investing in your story, in your brand, in your leadership, in your vision of the future. Finally, you come to action. In Act 1 and Act 2, I asked you to not think about action. I wanted you to just think about the audience and the storyteller. Now you think about action. Now you're like, okay, can you invest this much money into this idea? Can you create this particular kind of marketing campaign for me if it's your tea? Do you want to actually buy this brand? So this can create a deep emotional connection. So your copywriting, your communication is not something that's just being mass produced by AI. It's something that's emotional, that's true, that feels good, that brings people together, that's actually important for community related communication, which the communication is actually bringing communities together. It creates a shared vision and it lets the world see the vision that you have, and you have done the work of listening to other people's stories and belief, and you've created that transformation. So instead of just throwing information in a way that's engaging, you actually created a transformative journey for your audiences. That's the end of this training. I coach leaders in storytelling, in making the complex clear, in using their emotions, in connecting with your audiences. So you can sign up on the wait list in the description, and I will open spots soon and I will write to you. and we can work one on one over at least 6 weeks. My program requires you to commit for at least 40 days. You need to have an idea, you need to have some sort of a team or a story that you want to tell the world, and I can help you articulate it in a way that's best for your audiences, and we can work together. Thank you. See you in the next video.